follow the trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Now, away to get me shoot measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Good. Well, I asked him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it. And then we talk about it for 20 minutes. And then we decide I was right.
Messi! You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool. You can't win anything with the kids. Oh, Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp!
I think I'm a special one.
I'm the normal one.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it. As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend. It's Torres. Unbelievable. This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sacked in the Morning, the football podcast for people who aren't football people.
That's a weird way to put it.
No, we're the football podcast that isn't brought to you by a big newspaper or radio station, basically. We're the independent football podcast. We're the podcast that can tell it like it is.
The only ever one to do that.
Well, most of the other ones they're all affiliated with newspapers or like radio shows and professionals and stuff like that. So yeah, independent.
Sponsored by Manscaped.
Oh, if only, mate. Can't wait to get that sweet Manscaped money.
You're out there with that, Richard, are you?
Yep. Yeah. Shave your balls. That's the best way to live. Anyway, my name is Richard. I'll be your host each and every week, and most weeks, or whenever we can get these out, I will be joined by my two co-hosts. Two co-hosts? No, two co-guests, because there is only one host. This is a little bit messy, but don't worry, it all tidies up in editing. Don't worry about it, all right?
It's a bit hesky.
Yeah, a bit hesky. The true great. So first of all, guys, I thought we'd do a little introduction. This is, for those of you listening, this is actually like episode 1.5. We did do a lot of this before, but unfortunately that was pre-pandemic.
Was that first episode pre-pandemic?
It was, yes. It was before. It was.
Or is it 1.5 or episode 1B?
Ooh. What do you reckon?
Yeah, because you know, like you have episode pilot and then you have like episode 1 or episode 1B, so you could class it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, episode 1B, yeah. So, because we've all done this once before. Yeah, it was either. No, it was definitely 2019. It was definitely 2019.
Yeah, it was pre-pandemic.
It was pre-pandemic. Yeah,
we all thought Spurs might actually win something, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, pre-pandemic, definitely.
They're not good. Do you don't think they're in a good position to win something now?
We'll get into this.
Get into that.
I think we need to go through the steps first, guys. But yeah, unfortunately, the pandemic hit, which buggered up a lot of things. And the information that we recorded got lost on a corrupted hard drive of mine, I'm afraid.
Did that get COVID?
Yeah. Yeah, computer virus. So yeah, we're kind of redoing this a little bit. So we're going to go through some of the same things that we've already done, lads, all right? But for the audience, they've never listened to this before. So, yeah, if you just want to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourself, and what makes you such a footballing expert. Tom?
Expert.
Expert.
What makes you such a football expert?
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching football for a long time, Richard. That's why.
Okay.
Since 96. So that's what, 26 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Is my maths good there?
I don't know.
Yeah. So since the olden days.
We're not here to do maths, we're here to talk sports.
Since the olden days when 15 million was the world record transfer fee.
Days.
Mm.
Okay. What's your footballing philosophy?
Well, personally,
Yeah.
what, in terms of what football I like to watch, or?
How do you think football should be?
Well, I mean, football should be played
On the ground.
Well, I mean, ideally, yes, but if your team is not capable of that, then obviously no. Football should be played the way your team can play it. Don't play outside your means.
And tell us what team you support, if you can, please, Tom.
Arsenal, of course. Is there another option?
And why was that?
Why was that? I don't know. I just kind of liked Arsenal when I was a kid, watching them on ITV, and they were in Europe a lot at that point. I liked Ian Wright, Lee Dixon, David Seaman. I just liked the personalities that they had at the time. Dennis Bergkamp as well. That was the main appeal for me. I didn't really want to be a Man United fan at that point as well. My dad basically said to me that if you become a Man United fan, then you're never going to go and see him play. Not that I wanted to become one anyway, because that was what everyone wanted to be, wasn't it?
Glory hunting was the Man U fans at that point.
Of course, you can turn around and go, well, why didn't you support someone local? What, did I know those teams existed back then? Nah.
I actually did. I don't have an excuse, but we'll get to me anyway. So, and Michael, who from this point on shall be called Phelan, just for the benefit of the audience. That is what he has always been called to us. It sounds weird calling him Mike or Michael, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll see what he says about that.
Yeah, but he doesn't really have a choice in what I call him.
No, for operational purposes, we'll go with that. And how people that work call me Mike, and that's still weird at times.
Okay, see, even he thinks it's weird.
Okay,
See,
well,
there
fair
you
enough,
go.
as long as you're comfortable with that.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, Phelan. When did you get into football?
94 World Cup, I did it for a school project. So that's when I started watching football. And then, yeah,
what was the school project?
Grew into it from there. School project for 94. So I had to kind of cover the games, give a little bit of presentation back, and yeah, remember watching Ireland beat Italy.
Oh, right, okay.
What did you have to report?
Game scores, goals, and was the game any good?
Okay.
It was literally like 2 minutes each morning to the class, because obviously the World Cup was in America, so there was such a massive time difference.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents had to kind of record games, and then I'd sit and watch them.
And who else
Or
was
they'd record
involved
highlights back.
in this? Was it just you, or was it like a whole class
It was
thing?
just me. No, it was just me.
Why was that?
I have no idea.
Do you think the teacher just didn't think you were smart enough to do the proper class projects, so just gave you that?
Maybe. I just kind of started joining in, playing a little bit of football at school and diving around on concrete, which I always loved. So I don't know whether it came from that or not. I don't know.
So were you always a goalkeeper?
Well,
He's a goalkeeper, by the way.
Yeah, we might have to go back and ask my year 5 teacher why that was.
Maybe you
Yeah,
dived
who
on the
knows?
concrete once too many times and hit your head.
I got concussed 5 times playing football, so who knows?
I got concussed twice playing football.
I got it 5, concussed 5 times.
Oh, wait. Once playing football, twice outside of football. Anyway. And what is your footballing philosophy, Phelan?
So I have a relatively simple philosophy. Like to play like I think you should really play like a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Be defensively solid, but with a little bit of creativity in midfield to be able to play at pace, power, that sort of thing.
And what team do
But
you support?
Defense,
Oh, sorry.
strikers win your games, defenses win your championships.
What does the goalkeeper win you?
Points.
Good answer. That's a good answer. Well thought out. Cool. And what team do you support, please, Phelan?
I am a Tottenham supporter, for better or worse.
And why is that?
My parents didn't particularly like football. Parents across the road did. Got in for it from there.
Thank you very much, Phelan and Tom. My name is Richard. I've been into the football. I've been into football since the age of 4 is when I started playing. Wouldn't say I really started following until probably about 95, maybe. I remember the 94 World Cup though, because I was in Ireland. at the time, and obviously Ireland were going crazy.
Oh yeah, sure.
With their performances in the World Cup. I'm pretty sure they thought that they were going to win Euro
They beat
96.
Italy. They beat Italy, didn't they? In that World Cup, so they probably thought they could.
I'm pretty sure they thought they were going to go on to dominate the rest of the 90s, to be honest with you. But yeah, so really got into it in 95, I would say, is when I really started to understand more about what the game was. My footballing philosophy is there is no right way to play football. It is the same as Tom, is you need to do what's right for the players that you have at the time. The reason I asked this question is just for curiosity's sake. I'm a football coach by trade, so it's nice to know how other people view the game. My philosophy has always been do what's right for the players that you have at the time. But if I have got the players, I like to play a very fast counter-attacking style. Think super sexy fun time Germany. When they were at their peak in the 2000s and the 10s. Late 2000s, early 10s, mid 10s kind of thing. Super sexy fun time Germany. That was the team I really liked watching.
I don't think the Germans have ever been described as super sexy fun time.
Not Germans in specific. No, not German.
But that team you were talking about,
the football was good. Super sexy fun time. Yeah. But the people, no, they're ruthlessly efficient. Now it's time for sex. Now sex time is finished. Now it's time for fun. Fun time is finished.
I'm sure that works.
Now we must go to work.
I'm sure that happens. That's exactly what happens.
That's exactly what German people are like. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I should go. Right, okay, so as I said, we are going to get together when we can, discuss football. There's not going to be a specific type of flow to this. I'm sure we'll preview certain fixtures, certain games, certain things like that. We'll do that. But because of the nature of the releasing of this show, it's probably not going to be a set format where each week we review the games that are coming up that week. It's more of a free-flowing football discussion, really. So with that in mind, you guys wanted to have a little bit of a season review for the season just gone. So that's 21-22 season.
That's right.
Predominantly focusing on the Premier League, but I'm sure that there will be aspects from probably the Championship coming into this at some point. Champions League, news from around Europe, internationals, things like that. But with that being said, guys, where did you want to kick this off?
We could talk about the overachievers and underachievers from the season, feeling like you suggested. You want to start with the overachievers?
I would have to say, start either. We can start over or under.
Wherever you want, guys. I don't mind.
Yeah, we'll go for the good first and the bad second. You get more mileage out of the bad, don't you? You know?
Well, I would say the overachievers would definitely be Brighton, I would have thought.
Yep. Absolutely agree with that.
Considering I had them to go down, I would agree. Although I think there's, a bit of a good shout for West Ham overachieving again this season. I mean, I know they did it last season as well, but
I don't think anyone expected them to be the same standard as they were season before. I thought they would struggle a bit last season, to be honest.
Probably not as much as Brighton, I would agree, but...
I had West Ham finishing top 7, top 6, so...
I don't know, I thought they'd fall off a little bit because they were in Europe last season and they weren't, with the size of their squad, they wouldn't be able to maintain the same standard.
I figured they'd finish towards mid-table. The top of the second Premier
10 or 11th, probably. Yeah, but they did really well.
But no, I would say Brighton, probably, yeah. They really overachieved, I think, because like I said, I had them to go down. So
those main two. Is there anyone else we think overachieved? I've got 2 more names written down.
Brentford
is one of them. Yes,
they were very good to watch, to be fair. And Christian Eriksen coming in January really gave them.
Yeah, they gave them a massive boost.
Considering they were floundering a little bit by that point, I think that was.
Yeah, because they started off with the traditional promoted club high, unless you're one of the yo-yo clubs that come up and down every year. So they get like their high where for like the first 10 games, they've got all the confidence in the world. Teams haven't worked them out yet. They're catching everybody by surprise, playing with no fear. And then you hit like the next 10 games where it's that kind of makes or breaks the season.
Yeah.
Was how they get through that run. And as Tom kind of mentioned, they were just hitting the dip end of that run where they hadn't picked up too many points. They weren't scoring a lot of goals. And then Ericsson came in and lifted the whole team. But they also changed their style of play just to be a little bit more, I don't want to say direct, because that's not fair on Brentford. They play some wonderful passing football, but they had a bit more of an identity of how they wanted to get their goals.
Right.
Because beforehand it was just they moved the ball around the pitch and hope for an opening, whereas this time they moved the ball around the pitch looking for Ericsson to be that playmaker, putting the ball in the box more than they did beforehand. And that's where they started picking up a lot of their goals.
I mean, that's what.
But just having Ericsson there, just pulled the defender away, so it created space for Tony. It created space for the other midfielders to get between the lines because they were so focused on Ericsson and what Ericsson could do. The piggyback off that was massive for them.
I don't think they're going to be able to keep Ericsson around, though, unfortunately.
No, I don't. It
looks
looks like
he's
he's going to go at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But where's he going to go?
Man United.
Do you think he'll be United?
That's what I reckon.
I reckon he could end up in Liverpool.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know.
But I've got one more name on the overachievers. I've put a question mark against it because I'm not convinced you're going to buy it. But Arsenal, slightly.
No, not in a million years.
No, I think if we got Champions League, then probably yes, but we didn't. So I didn't think we finished higher than sixth, and we finished fifth.
Which
so
is
it's only one position.
Under Spurs, outside of Champions League places, because Spurs rule North London.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I don't think I'd agree with that.
If we got Champions League, do you reckon?
I mean, this Arsenal team, with this squad of players, with this manager, then probably yes. Arsenal historically, no. You should definitely be at least getting Champions League.
Yeah, totally. I don't think we should be finishing above Man United with the players they have as well.
No, I think that they're probably a good contender for one of the major underachievers of the season, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
That team should have done way more than what they did.
Yeah, they're on my list for underachievers.
Yeah, I don't know about the Arsenal one. I'm not convinced, but I'm not unconvinced either. You know, it's like
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, they're difficult in the situation that they're in at the moment. I mean, it's Arsenal. They should be doing a lot better than they're doing, but this team is very, very ordinary. It looks like there's players coming through that can start to do a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, we've got plenty of young players, you know.
Yeah, I think the way the Premier League is built now, to do a project like Arsenal's doing without bringing in some, I don't want to say superstars, because that's not necessarily true, but some established experience, you're going to get left behind just because of how good City and Liverpool are. You're basically City, Liverpool, then the next 5 teams competing for those 2 Champions League and Europa League places. That's basically what the Premier League's now become to a degree.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. I thought Chelsea...
Because this top 4, as it's just finished, was the same top 4 from like 3 years ago, position for position, when City had 98, Liverpool 97, then Chelsea, then Spurs, then Arsenal, top 5. It was pretty much exactly identical as it was 3 years ago.
Interesting.
We finished in the top 4 3 years ago. Feels like it's been like ages since we've been.
Yeah,
in the top 4.
the season we got the Champions League final. That was,
oh yeah, I didn't tell everyone, did I? I'm a Spurs fan as well. I forgot.
Oh, no one cares about that. No one cares about that.
This is the problem. When no one asks you the questions, you forget.
Yeah.
This is the problem of being a host.
So who else are we going for the underachievers then?
My underachievers is probably a little bit controversial.
Okay.
Oh, go on.
Because I've got Chelsea.
Yeah, slightly. Up until Christmas, they looked pretty good, and then fell off, didn't they?
Wait, we're on underachievers now, yeah?
Underachievers.
So we finished with the overachievers.
Yeah, unless you've got anyone else to add.
Yeah.
would say Tottenham personally, but I think
I'll be
overachieved massively.
No,
But that's because I'm a pessimist. So, okay,
I
so
can understand it.
underachievers, right? Okay, Chelsea. Go on, sorry, Fina. Yeah.
Chelsea, obviously Man United, because they played in such a bad way, and Everton.
Oh, definitely Everton. Jesus
yeah.
Christ, yeah.
I just heard a dolphin.
And probably, I'd probably put
Seagull.
Leeds in with that as well.
Who? Sorry, what?
I'd probably put Leeds in there as well.
No, I kind of expected them to struggle a little bit.
Mid-table,
I
middle
mean,
of the road. It's where I expected them to be.
I expected Leeds to really struggle this season and go down next season. So they're going to be one of my picks to go down in the 22-23 season. But yeah, I expected them to really struggle this season, to be fair. Even though they had the world's greatest manager of all time in charge of them. You know, all hell.
The problem is they got found out.
Yep.
No one finds out Bielsa.
Yes.
No. Bielsa
They got found out.
No. Bielsa is the greatest manager that has ever existed in the history of the world, of life. And no one found him out. He was shafted by the powers that be. They don't want Leeds to succeed. That's what it is. They're keeping them down. That's the.
Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I think Everton are the biggest underachievers, right?
Oh, Everton.
Considering
Everton,
where they should be and where they
massively.
end up finishing, like who would have thought at the start of the season they'd be in the last week of the season and not safe? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in April, I thought they were going down. I actually had them
Yeah,
done.
they're terrible. They're very rank, you know. There's a lot more from Everton, really.
I mean, considering the amount of money that they've spent as well, and I
Yep.
mean, the players that they've got aren't terrible. I mean, it's not
They're also not world beaters.
a world-beating team. No, it's not a team that's going to challenge for titles. It's not a team that's necessarily going to challenge for trophies. But it's not a team that should be struggling as much as they did. I think that what this season has shown is how influential of a player Gylfi Sigurdsson is.
Okay.
No.
I do agree with you on Chelsea, though. I think they probably should have mounted a bit more of a title challenge. I mean, if Lukaku would hit form, they would have probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had Chelsea to win the league this season.
That's what
Yeah,
I mean.
so did I.
When you speak to a lot of people, most people had Chelsea to win the league.
Yeah.
With Lukaku coming in, that was supposed to be like the final piece of the puzzle. They just won the Champions League, completely outplayed City in that final, and then Lukaku was supposed to be the point that helped kick them on. And then at one point they were in danger of not even finishing in the top four. So
Yep.
the
I mean,
Lukaku experiment failed.
If there are a few more
£100
games, I know it's stupid to say that it's
flop.
only a few more games, but I think Arsenal and Spurs might have caught them.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
what
honestly
was it?
think so.
We were
If there had
going
been
into the
like
sorry.
another 3 games, I think we'd have overhauled them. Both of us would have done.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were going into the last game of the season, only with the potential of only being goal difference behind Chelsea in third. That was, you know,
Yeah.
and then you wouldn't have thought that come like December, January time. You would have thought like, oh, they should be all right by now, you know. But yeah, going into the last game of the season, it was a case of, well, we would finish on equal points with them potentially, and they'd only be ahead of us by on goal difference. You know, which is a pretty poor situation to be in. So I get what you're saying with regards to that, but I mean, they still finished third. I mean, out of City and Liverpool, I mean, that's not a terrible situation.
No, it's not terrible, but I think they should have planned more of a challenge.
I mean, my biggest underachiever of the season would be technically Lukaku, rather than the actual Chelsea team itself. Would be Lukaku.
Yeah. I mean,
I couldn't have been. I was not the only person that looked at that situation and thought that is a fantastic signing for Chelsea.
Oh, everybody
now
did.
they've got
We
a
all
goal
did.
scorer, and they've got someone who can get them that 20, 30 goals a season that's going to push them into a contendership position. And they just didn't use him at all. I don't.
it became clear very early on that they too sure
His
didn't want
attitude
him.
was wrong, wasn't it, as well?
I don't know if it's necessarily his attitude. I mean, if you come,
But you don't go to onto Italian news and just basically blast the manager and blast the club and say you don't really want to be there and you'd rather be at Inter Milan and you didn't really want to leave.
I mean, I think personally, if I was being attacked and told how bad I was and everything like that, I would be quite happy to turn around and go, well, to be fair, no one's really playing to my strengths. You know, I can only do so much. This is how I perform. You've all seen me here in this country. You know how good I can be. If you're not willing to play to my strengths, don't start then attacking me and saying, oh, you're the problem. You're not the one who's, you know. I think there's this weird thing in football. It's like, oh, you don't talk about people like, oh, you don't. No, everything's done. But why?
Yeah,
if you're attacking me and no one's standing up for me, then I'm going to go and say, well, to be fair, Tuchel's no offence,
but he's getting paid a load of money.
So does that negate the fact that you have strengths that your employer should be playing towards?
But surely you should sort that out internally.
Yeah, I don't think you should publicly criticise, and also it's more for the fact that he turned around and said that he didn't want to leave in the first place. They just make some mockery of, you know, his apparent press conference, like, oh, it's a dream to come back to Chelsea, this, that, and the other, and then 6 months later you're in an Italian film. Well, I didn't actually want to leave, and I was really happy in Italy, and I didn't really want to go.
Well, okay, is that a mockery of that press conference, or is it a mockery of what I was saying, in that you're trained to have to say certain things, even if it's not how you actually feel at the time?
But you didn't have to go. He didn't have to sign for Chelsea. Inter Milan may have wanted to sell him, but he could have said, "No, I'll stay." Thank you very much.
I know that, but I've listened to like the Peter Crouch podcast, and he talks about when he didn't want to leave Tottenham when we were getting Adebayor. Then he didn't want to leave. He was like, "No, I'm happy here. I want to stay here." But Daniel Levy made it perfectly clear: if you stay, you're not going to get a squad number next season. You're not even going to play in the reserves.
Ouch.
So is it a case of like a team who wants to get rid of you, well, I need to go, otherwise next season I'm buggered. Like, you could turn around and say, yeah, but it's up to the manager to play him. Yeah, that's great. But if the chairman says to the admin people, don't register him, then the manager can't play you. Even if you... So I think it's often a case of, like, if a team says we're willing to sell you, it's basically get out the door because you have no future here.
Yeah, I think that's more financial than anything, I guess, on Inter Milan's part. They wanted to sell him.
Maybe. But he's now going back there on loan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Strange, isn't it?
But
the whole thing just didn't particularly sit right.
It's such a shame, isn't it, really?
I mean, he's clearly talented. You can clearly see what he can do.
Yeah.
It's just...
The Chelsea system isn't...
I think it also comes to the argument sometimes that he's... And not for a lack of talent, he's just not suited to play in the Premier League. It doesn't suit his style of...
I don't know, I think he was pretty decent at Everton.
Yeah, and at West Brom.
Yeah. I think because they played towards his strengths.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that the reason that he's never going to be...
Yeah, but the Premier League has moved now to a passing, fast-paced... When I say that it doesn't suit his football, it doesn't suit how he plays. Just hold the ball up, bring people in. He plays with power. He bullies defenders. In the Premier League now, that's not how they play. You look at most teams now, the top 10 teams will generally play the same kind of way.
I think
he's just not suited to play the Premier League.
I think the two things for me that are an issue is that he'll never be world class, because the people that are world class are able to get beyond their issues of this. Yeah, that's the thing. He doesn't seem to be able to adapt, which is a problem. And the second thing is, he seems to me to be a very emotional player. Like, if he's like, I know that it's silly to say if he's not up for it, then he's not going to perform. But I think there are players that have come around that are affected a lot more by their emotions than some other players. Like, I think a lot of other players are able to block it out. Yeah. But we were having this discussion earlier with Dele Alli. I think he's another player who's very emotional in regards to the way he plays.
We'll get to Dele Alli later on. I'm telling you.
Yeah, okay, but
He's in my thoughts. Don't worry.
But some people are able to compartmentalise, and some people are able to be like, I'm not happy at the moment, but that doesn't
That's
matter.
a big word for you.
I've got a bachelor's degree. Thank you very much.
That's a big word for a football fan.
How dare you? I have a university degree.
Of course, I'm a football fan. God.
I think
Fancy words.
I think some players are able to go, nah, that. I'm going to concentrate on what I'm doing. There, is that better?
That's more like it.
Yeah, it comes back to the phrase of I'm not enjoying my football.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of players, I think Alan Shearer was one of them, because he always goes on about, no, you should be focused. Roy Keane is another one. You should be focused on your football and nothing else should matter in life. But I think that some players are okay. But like people in real life, some people are able to deal with emotional pressure and think, nope, I'm not focusing on that right now. This is what I need to do right now. And they're good at that. Other people are very much like, I'm struggling and I really can't be bothered to do this right now. And it shows in the way they play. Or I'm really not enjoying this right now. I'm not in a good place. I really don't want to be playing football right now, to be honest with you. I just want to be at home watching Netflix or whatever, which I think sometimes we forget as football fans that these people are, they're people too, and not everyone's exactly the same. I think Lukaku is a very emotional player, Like I saw a stat with going back a little bit, but talking about Adebayor, that he is a very good player, but he's very emotional.
You couldn't tell that.
Yeah, but you can specifically track the seasons that he
nobody
doesn't.
runs 90 yards across a pitch to celebrate in front of someone else's fan.
Yeah, but you can actually. Someone did the statistics, and they can actually track the seasons he was really poor. Were seasons where something big and emotional happened in his life, like the bus shooting that he was involved in, for instance.
Yeah,
his dad dying, for instance. His brother being murdered, for instance. These were all big things that happened, and they coincided with seasons where he was very, very poor.
How do we get to Adebayor from here?
I'm just saying, I'm using it as an example for Lukaku. Seems to be a very emotional style player. That when he doesn't feel loved, and when he doesn't feel,
get over it.
He can't be bothered. You say that, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I feel that
I'm sure he doesn't feel that loved when he's got 300 grand.
Tuchel should have integrated him
man.
better into the team.
Sorry, say again.
I think Tuchel should have integrated him better in the team.
100%, I agree with that.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
He doesn't want to play.
They could have done a better job with that.
He doesn't want to play to his strengths. Though,
No, I mean they've been linked with Raheem Sterling. I think he's more the kind of attacker that this Chelsea team are looking for, really.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll fit into the team a lot better. Yeah.
Lukaku's an old style centre forward, and Chelsea don't really play like that.
No, I agree. I think that like the teams that he succeeded at, Everton, West Brom, they very much played that style of football. It was the same thing when he was at Man U. He wasn't really on it at Man U either, because they didn't want to play the way he wanted them to play. But then he got to Italy, and he's like the focal point of that whole the way that Conte wanted to play.
But Conte played with two forwards, which is rare in this day and age of football as well.
Yeah. Oh, 4-4-2, where are you?
We got any other underachievers then?
We
said Man U. I was going to say, Man U, obviously.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, with that team that they had on paper, they should have done way better than they did.
Okay, I've got Leicester written down. Okay. I thought they were pretty bang average for most of the season.
I had Leicester in my top 4, so
yeah, they were pretty disappointing, weren't they? Really?
Yeah.
And I've got Aston Villa as well. Although that could possibly be overachievement from the season before, and plus they did just lose Jack Grealish as well, who most of the output came out from in the last few years. So
I think the ones Gerrard
they
turned the corner.
Yeah, they were okay.
Villa fell into the trap that any team does when they sell their prize asset for a ton load of money. They don't spend it very well.
I I think
and then hope that people that they bring in can replace the impact that one player had when they were the big fish
None
in
of
the
the
little
signings
pond.
really caught fire.
None of them really worked.
Apart from Coutinho.
I
and
think
that was
the
January.
problem for
But
them as well is that when people know you've got money, you know, you tend to be priced out of a lot of moves, or like prices tend to be overinflated than what they would be anyway.
The Premier League overpay for players anyway.
I mean,
if
I
they
agree with
know
that
as a
100%.
league
I mean, yeah.
we've got far too much money, so the foreign clubs want a big piece of that money because that's probably their annual budget for a lot of it, or it pays for their star player for a year.
Yeah.
So we always end up overpaying, but Villa just, like I said, like every team that suddenly, for lack of a better phrase, comes into money, they just didn't spend it very well.
They feel like they have to spend it, don't they? Rather than
Yeah,
Flashbacks to
a little bit like what
Bale,
Newcastle did in
100%.
January. Yeah, Spurs did when we sold Bale.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But I don't know, I think Villa did alright. I wouldn't really. Yeah.
If they don't kick on next season and they finish in 16th
they should be
again,
trying
then
to
you'd
get
probably,
a top 10
you'd
finish.
you'd call them an underachiever at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they should be aiming for the top half of the league specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I put forward PSG?
PSG
They won the
will
league.
always underachieve because they're PSG. And
Sorry, I'm just
just-
going to stop
they
you
don't-
for a second, Phelan. Say that again, please, Tom.
They won the league.
The French league.
The one that didn't win the season before.
Yeah, but like, how many out of the past 15 years? How many have they won?
A lot of them.
Yeah, who cares then?
11, I think.
Yeah, winning the league or the French Cup means nothing. To
And they
PSG.
did lose the eventual Champions League winners.
Yeah, but
I don't care.
yeah,
They blew it though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They blew it.
this
They
should
should have
They
beaten Real
they
Madrid.
completely capitulated.
Man
They
City
should have
blew it.
seen that game out high and dry.
Mhm.
They're too reliant on older players, and they're not a team. They're just a bunch of individuals.
I think that they were better this transfer window, though. I know that they signed obviously Ramos and
I mean, on paper it looked impressive, but
Yeah.
in reality,
but
not
I
so
think
much.
that they would. I think that they were better. They went out and got a decent goalkeeper. You know, they
Who was terrible in the Champions League.
yeah. For some reason, he just completely bombed. But I think that they recruited better rather than just going for the Galacticos approach.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll agree with that. But my pushback to that is there's a reason why Donnarumma left AC Milan for free.
I think he had a pretty impressive.
I mean, Ramos barely played for injury. Wijnaldum barely played.
Yeah.
Messi was
Yeah.
rubbish, pretty much, in the
He
Champions
was
League
awful.
anyway.
It was not good.
Again, I don't think he's particularly happy with his situation. Is he? I don't
Probably
think he
not,
ever
no.
wanted
But he's going to have to make
Barcelona,
the
did
better
he?
of it next season.
Yeah, but you talk about like Lukaku not wanting to leave Inter Milan and going to Chelsea because they said the club didn't want him.
Mhm.
Messi stood in a press conference and said he did everything he could to try and stay at Barcelona.
Mhm.
Yeah, I get it. He was upset. Like, I get it.
You
but
you
gotta move
could
on.
have he could have stayed at Barcelona for 50 grand a week and still stayed as part of that team.
Mhm.
He didn't have to agree to cut his. Oh, I agreed to cut my salary in half. So you still want £500,000 a week from a team that can't pay you £500,000. If you really want to stay there, you make so much money from your own image that 50, 100 grand a week.
I think
Not
that
gonna hurt him to stay
there
in
was
Barcelona.
some sort of legal thing with regards to that, though.
There was an issue with his contract. He tried to
that's
leave the
right,
year
yeah. They
before
weren't
by
allowed to
claiming-
pay him nothing or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, it wasn't legally allowed.
But then if he's
Yeah, 'cause
willing,
he
I
could
get
have
what you're
left
saying.
for
If he's willing to play for nothing, surely they could have paid him like €1 or something like that, right?
He stood
Or
on
minimum
a podium and
wage.
He did everything he could. To try and stay at
Nine
Barcelona.
€9.70 an hour or something like that. You know?
Yeah. And he's gone to PSG where he's earning £1 million a week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that tells me all I need to know about that, Messi's mentality. He did not. If he really wanted to stay in Barcelona and didn't want to go to PSG, he could have made it happen. But he decided to go to PSG and take £1 million a week.
Should he have gone to City with Guardiola, do you think? Do you think he would have enjoyed his time more with Guardiola?
No,
No?
because Guardiola would have still have expected him to to play the Guardiola way. Guardiola's not going to change his philosophy to bring Messi in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what United did with Ronaldo, and that's why it all went to pot. So I don't think he would have done that.
Possibly might have softened the blow because he knows Guardiola, but I still think he
Yeah,
would have
the
been
soft-
upset and disappointed about it.
Yeah,
But
but it wouldn't have made him a better player.
I don't necessarily mean from a better player, but it might have made him a happier player because at least he'd be
Maybe.
with someone that he knows very well. He's with someone that he knows loves him, basically, you know, like sees him as like a son, you know.
Well, if I was PSG, I'd get rid of Neymar. What's he done for them?
Well,
really?
I reckon if they bring Zidane in, because that's what's rumoured to go in there, he might make that team a Champions League winner because he'll instantly command the respect in the entire dressing room.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
they'll actually listen to him because I think that's part of the issue with Poch. To those superstars, he hadn't won anything.
Yeah.
He'd managed Tottenham, and now he's going to tell these bunch of multi-million, many caps wonder players how to play football.
I always thought it was a bad decision for him to go there anyway. I did not think it was a good fit.
It was a romantic decision for him. Just because he
Yeah,
played for
because
them.
he played at PSG before.
Yeah, but
But
he played
Zidane
at a different
Zidane
PSG, didn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
Yeah, didn't suit PSG style of play. You talk about playing player strengths. Poch really didn't do that. I mean, at one point you had Messi playing defensive midfield, tracking
Really?
back.
Was he? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's getting old, you know. You gotta, like,
That front three
Zidane
needs to work hard though if they're going to win the Champions League. That's for sure.
But Zidane will get that out of them because they'll
Maybe.
respect and listen to what he's got to say. And
Yeah,
Zidane's
I
way of
think
playing football is very simple.
Yeah, he'll have more instant respect going in because it's like, oh, it's Zidane. You know, he's won World Cups, he's won Champions Leagues himself as a player and a manager. I think he'll have instantaneously more success. But there have been people that have gone in there who have also won stuff that haven't succeeded. I say succeeded because, you know, like winning the French
won the
League
Champions
is, that's what succeeded means to PSG now, I think, doesn't it? You know.
Well, I don't just think it's not necessarily because he's like, as you say, there's managers that have been successful, but they're never gonna get Neymar respect, as it were, because Neymar sees himself bigger than the club. Mbappe now clearly sees himself as bigger than the club. Messi will see himself bigger than PSG, but nobody's going to see themselves bigger than Zidane. The man is a legend.
Yeah, surely he's going to command respect. Surely.
All I'm going to say though is don't ever underestimate a footballer's ability to be a prima donna.
Oh God, no. Oh God, we've seen it many times.
Yeah. So I would be very much inclined to believe that they'll be all respectful, but given a few dodgy results, and all of a sudden they'll be like, this guy doesn't really know anything. He doesn't know how to play, doesn't know my strengths or anything, you know? Like, what does he
And
know?
we all know footballers can be prima donnas.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all I would say. You got any more?
No special.
I've got nothing. I'm happy to move on to the next.
Okay. Phelan,
section.
you got any more shouts or
No,
anything?
I've had my rant.
Okay, fair enough, no problem. So what's next up for you guys?
What about signing of the season? Who do you think was worth the money this last season?
I am going to say, as much as it pains me to say it, Luis Diaz at Liverpool.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great signing.
Yeah.
Gutting signing.
I mean, we're not talking through the whole
completely
season, but
gutting signing.
as a January transfer, that was a very good piece of business.
I mean, if you're putting, he's obviously hit the ground running, hasn't he?
Such an exciting player to watch.
Such an exciting.
He is, though. He's an exciting player to watch. And I'm guessing, Liverpool knew that they're going to lose Mane or Salah or both soon, so they had to replace him. And this guy looks the real deal at the moment, anyway.
I mean, yeah, could be a flash in the pan. I don't think so, though.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem to have been luck. It seems to have been genuine skill and talent that's done that.
100%.
I mean, we spoke about him earlier, Eriksen, from his comeback from where he was to how
definitely.
he finished the season. I think that's not just good for Brentford, but it was good as a personal thing for him as well. It shows, you know, I can still do it, you know, like.
I have a statistic about Ericsson. He created the third most chances in the Premier League from his debut for Brentford to the end of the season.
That's
It goes back to the point I made earlier, doesn't it?
Pretty good.
It's almost like you know what you're talking about, isn't it?
Funny that.
Yeah. I think Newcastle made some pretty good signings in January as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Chris Wood was amazing.
Yeah.
No, not him. Guimaraes and Trippier I was thinking more of, but yeah, not Chris Wood.
Trippier spent most of
Stopgap signing, really, wasn't he?
Ooh, take that.
No offence, but yeah.
No, I it was just a weird signing, I thought.
Yeah, and he scored one goal, didn't he, for Newcastle, I think?
Did he? I don't even know if he scored that. Did he?
It was a penalty, wasn't it, I think? Didn't he score a penalty or something?
Probably.
One thing I will say, though, it significantly weakened Burnley to the point where they got them relegated.
Burnley, yeah. That was the worst thing that could have happened to Burnley. Yeah.
Yeah, so from that 100%. Perspective.
And then they brought in, and then the player they brought in did nothing.
Yeah, Veghorst, he only got a couple of goals as well, didn't he?
Nothing. Did he even score?
I remember him scoring once at least, yeah. But I think it's only one or two.
Awful.
Awful. I think throughout the whole season, the best signing, without doubt, was Aaron Ramsdale. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Ronaldo as well, I'd say.
I think Ronaldo...
No, I'm not giving you Ronaldo.
No, third top scorer in the league, mate.
It destabilised that United team. It's the reason why they finished seventh.
But third top goal scorer in the league, that was pretty good.
Okay. Ronaldo's a selfish person who will always score goals.
I think Ronaldo is a pretty decent signing for them. I think that will serve them quite well going forward. I think that the problem is that they were now so top heavy that they just, I mean, that midfield was, we've said this so many times, that midfield was appalling.
Yep.
It was so bang average, and they had so many quality players up front, but no one to do anything behind them, you know? I mean, you say their best midfield players are all defensive midfielders, aren't they? I mean, and even they're getting all old.
Did they even have a midfielder outside of Fernandes?
But if you look at that whole midfield,
right,
they've got more better defensive midfielders than they have attacking midfielders. You got Bruno Fernandes, and then what? Paul Pogba. But then where does Paul Pogba play? Does anyone know where Paul Pogba plays?
He's playing nowhere at the moment.
In the dressing room because he's always freaking injured.
So then there you go. You've got Matic, Fred, McTominay. Not good. I didn't say that they were good, but I'm saying that they're their best midfielders.
Consistent
probably
starters. That says a lot, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Is that their best midfielders are all defensive midfielders, and even they're not.
No, Rich. Yeah. Their only midfielders are defensive midfielders outside of Fernandes. It's not even a case of being best midfielders. They're the only midfielders.
McTominay, I think he's a decent player, but he's not Man United standard.
He's not. Yeah, he's like mid-table standard.
Everton.
Yeah. I mean,
Aston Villa.
West Ham, somewhere like that. Yeah, I don't.
Probably where you should probably go to Newcastle, to be fair.
Probably will. They're going to sign up everyone, I imagine, aren't they? Well, they've been very quiet so far, haven't they?
Yeah, I can't remember any signings they've made so far.
I haven't even seen them linked with many people.
They're trying to sign some French striker, aren't they? Whose name I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to attempt to butcher it either.
Was it Foot? Something Foot, isn't it?
His surname begins with an E, but as much as I know. So I'm not going to butcher his name.
Like Footy something or something. Yeah, I think that if they get their midfield sorted out, I think Ronaldo is a pretty decent signing for them. Because I think he will guarantee them at least some goals. And if he can score that many goals in a team that's that crap, maybe if they get some decent players in around him. I'm interested to see if Van der Beek actually starts picking a bit up now that he's got someone who believes in him a little bit more, you know.
Maybe.
Because he was good in that Ajax team.
Yeah, he was, yeah. But I still think Aaron Ramsdale is the signing of the season.
Yeah, I find it hard to argue with that. for the whole season, definitely.
I've got one.
Yeah.
Corella at Brighton.
Cucurella, yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
Le Cucurella.
Yeah.
Le Cucurella. La, 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 la.
He's supposed to be going to Man City, isn't he?
Supposedly, yeah.
Oh,
But
right.
he would be, but if you're talking about the whole season, he's probably another one that really helped
Yeah, that's a good
get
shout.
Brighton further up the table.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty, and he's got a cool name. Better than Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I can't really debate that. I've only got a couple more names written down. I've got Conor Gallagher at Palace.
I mean, that was only a loan signing, wasn't
Only
it?
a loan,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was a good signing.
And the Wolves goalkeeper, Jose Sarr.
Started a bit dodgy, I think, though. I remember early on in the season, it was a bit like, oh, he's no Rui Patricio, is he? But I think he settled.
Yeah,
after
pretty
that.
well, yeah.
Yeah. I know it's only half a season, but can I put forward Kulusevski?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was decent.
I think Tottenham completely turned a corner when he came in as well. I think we were floundering a little bit, and then when he got into the team,
Yeah, he's like a decent player.
yeah. Anyone else?
Helped us get over Diaz.
Yeah, I still think Diaz would have been a better signing.
Oh,
But,
yeah, 100%. I'm not going to argue that point, but they kind of made they covered their bases with that one.
yeah, I think he came in and proved me wrong. I was very much when he came in, but yeah.
Took me like 3 weeks to learn how to say his name.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad shout, Ramsdale. I think that's a fairly decent shout.
I expected him to be terrible, really. I didn't know what we were doing signing him, but he proved me wrong.
Considering he'd been relegated the past 2 seasons,
Yeah,
then, it was
Made
very
some
much
outstanding
like
saves throughout the season.
That free kick against Leicester was an outrageous.
Yeah, against Leicester he was pretty good. Against Man United he was pretty good as well. But yeah.
I mean, you and I were saying that we think he's put himself in the shop window for England number one, don't we? You know?
Well, definitely.
I think he was way better than Pickford this season.
He's a better goalkeeper than Pickford, 100%.
Yeah.
But he ain't going to be number one.
No.
No.
I know you weren't happy about him in the Hungary game.
No,
we
I
were
was
talking
not.
earlier. And he
Oh,
was-
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier and he was very, very disrespectful. Said all sorts of things about his mum and
Oh, okay, right.
No, he was just saying he was very poor in that game.
I didn't see the game, so I can't comment.
I tend to disagree with Phelan. I think that one of the goals he was pretty poor for. The rest, it wasn't really anything to do with him. It was just a poor England performance, to be honest with you. So, but based on this season, I still think that he's done better than Pickford.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Pickford did all right at the end of the season. They made probably one of the best saves I've seen for a long time against Chelsea. Can we move on to worst signing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's probably more material in that, isn't it?
I mean,
Well, I'll
there's
be very
no point to.
disappointed if we don't all have the same worst signing of the season.
I mean, is it even worth talking about Lukaku? We already talked about.
I mean,
for like
we've
10
talked
minutes.
about him in depth, haven't we?
Yeah,
I
should we
think-
just move on?
Should we all agree that he was the worst signing?
Yeah, and move on. Yeah. But who else was terrible this season? Signing
Jack
wise.
Grealish.
I mean, I did say at the start of the season, when you asked, best and worst signings, I said that's a very difficult question to answer because best is always really easy, because you can look at him and go, he had a great season, but worst is always a bit subjective, let's say.
Oh, 100%.
I would say if you've got a price tag of the most expensive British signing, then you need to put forward yourself in a way that shows that.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't think he quite lived up to that expectation.
No, I get the criticisms, but I don't.
But I don't think he had a bad season.
No, I don't think it was that bad.
I don't think he had £100 million season, not by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't think he had a bad season.
What do you reckon?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with everything.
Okay.
Fair enough.
He just didn't apply himself. Metrics were very poor. His attitude on the pitch looked very poor. He got upstaged by Raheem Sterling the whole season.
But can I
And
just say, sorry, on that
could
front,
be relied upon.
I think Raheem Sterling is massively underrated in that Man City team. I think that he is a outstanding player, and he doesn't seem to get that credit enough. And I would pick him in my team over Grealish any day of the week, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think he wasn't starting as much last season, Sterling. Right?
No, for some reason, because I guess when you spend £100 million on someone, you kind of need to play them, don't you?
Yeah.
But yeah,
and
sorry,
that's
carry on.
the thing. I think he was signed to replace Sterling and didn't do the job. I mean, even like the stats of being the most foul player, that disappeared. He just seemed to just stop doing anything of particular note. I think he had 4 assists all season.
Yeah, his stats weren't good. They
And you look at that City team, it was built the way that, Grealish plays football, the way that he looks forward, the way he tries to create chances. It was almost built for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just didn't turn up, just didn't perform.
But now they've got Haaland. I think things will be different.
Yeah. And only if he decides to try and actually want to play in that City team and do what Guardiola wants him to do. Guardiola won't trust you. He won't play you. And that was evident at the end of the season. He didn't play really in any of the running games.
True.
And that's a damning indictment of a player that supposedly cost it did cost £100 million.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't make it off the bench in any of the running games of the season. The biggest, most important games, you didn't make it off the bench.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that there are players that probably had a worse season.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think that your argument simply comes from my argument at the beginning of the season that with that price tag, he has to have a barnstormer of a season. And I just don't think he did. And I think that that's where that assessment comes from.
Yeah.
Like, if he cost 30 million, you probably wouldn't be saying how terrible a signing he was. You'd be like, he's pretty average, to be honest with you. I think the fact that he went for the price that he went for, when they could have got Kane and didn't, for that reason, then you probably look at it a little bit more and think, yeah, that was a poor decision.
Possibly, yeah.
But now they got Haaland.
Especially when you compare it with Luis Diaz, who costs nearly 45% of the price.
Yeah.
40
and
million,
the output of both players. Yeah, something like that. And you look at the output of both players.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think that he had anywhere near. But going back to the whole most foul player stat, I hated that stat anyway. That was a stupid stat. That means nothing. It just means you're very bad at getting out of the way.
Okay.
I've always found that stat stupid, though. There are so many stats that I find stupid. Do you know that in the month of April, when the 14th landed on a Sunday, that Romelu Lukaku has only had 6 touches inside the opponent's... Who gives a shut up? These stats are, some of these stats that they come up with.
Just reminded me of that Lukaku game against Palace when he only touched the ball 6 times in the whole game.
And 2 of those was to kick off.
Yeah, exactly. Hilarious.
But that isn't necessarily a stat that matters, though, because I remember there was a game where Michael Owen only had 10 touches and he scored 2 goals. So, it doesn't matter how many touches you have. It all depends on where the touches are and how efficient.
Because he was having a bad time with it.
That's why they pulled that stat up.
Yeah.
It's like the whole, they only talk about how, oh wow, you don't have to have 900% possession of the ball to win a game. That's crazy, when someone only wins when they win a game with only 30% possession. It's like these are the only stats that they actually care about when it backs up their argument that they're having a bad game. If he'd had 6 touches in the game and scored a hat-trick, guarantee you they wouldn't have been mentioning it.
No, they'd have mentioned he had 6 touches and scored a hat-trick, how efficient he was with what he did.
Yeah. Look how great he was with the ball. He knew exactly what he was doing every time he got the ball. But anyway, bad signing is more of a feeling sometimes.
Okay, I've got one more to throw out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
And then I'm going to probably take my headphones out of my ear because you lot are about to lambast me for it. Jadon Sancho.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'd agree. But I think that's a symptom of, like I was saying before, where Man U had so many players up front that they didn't really know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And then they had no one else of quality behind them that could actually do anything with them. And I think Jadon Sancho was a victim of that.
Yeah, my argument is they chased him for 18 months, signed him, and then did nothing with him.
Yeah, I found that really weird. It's like, oh, we want you, we need you. Oh, I'm so desperate to have you. Right, go sit on the bench.
Did the same with Van der Beek, though, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
But they didn't chase him for 18 months.
Yeah, true.
It's just weird, poor recruitment. Like, it just, I mean, if you look at the players that they had up top, they had some quality players. I mean, there was some, we said this before, there's some quality there, but they just didn't know what to do with them. It was just like, well, who do we play? How do we play them? Where do we play them? It was just, like, I was really surprised that Lingard didn't have more of a look in, because he had a great end of the season with West Ham the season before.
Yeah, he should have stuck around.
Yeah,
at West Ham.
You would have thought they'd be like keen to maximise that, that run of form, that bit of hunger that he's got, and then Rashford just completely disappeared.
Yeah, he was dreadful, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I got one more name to throw at you.
Yeah.
We didn't mention him earlier. Dele Alli.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that wasn't a full season one, though, was it? But
no, but they signed him in January for like almost the same amount of Luis Diaz cost.
Do you want to fill us in on this feeling? Because we had the same discussion earlier.
Go on.
There was no upfront fee for Dele Alli. He technically left Tottenham on a free transfer.
Oh, really? Okay.
The money that Everton are going to pay are built into goals and appearances. I don't even know if it's appearances. It might even be built into minutes.
Okay.
So they didn't actually pay any money up front for Dele Alli.
Okay. It's still a terrible signing, though, isn't it?
I mean,
it's still a terrible signing, and did Spurs no favours because we got no money for actually letting him go when we let two other midfielders plus him go.
This is what I was saying.
It's really, really strange deal.
Why I think Everton aren't playing him because they don't want to pay the fees for him.
Oh, maybe. He only started one game, didn't he? That was the last game.
Yeah.
When they were already
safe. That was the last game of the season,
a couple of substitute appearances.
Shows how much faith they have in him, doesn't they? Blimey.
But maybe
might start an FA Cup game, actually, as well.
Maybe Frank was told, don't play him that much because then we've got to give Tottenham...
Why sign him then? In the first place? Ridiculous. Jesus.
But that's a damning indictment of Everton as a team, really.
Good deal for Spurs, though.
I mean,
it's a bad deal for Spurs. We got no money in January for it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it. I mean, we got him off the wage book, but then how much wages was he really?
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. Well, if you're happy with that, are you happy with that? To move on? Or?
Yeah, I'm happy to move on. Yeah.
Have you got anything else you want to talk about, or?
We've got player of the season.
Yeah, I want to hear Tom's idea. Being an Arsenal fan, I want to hear what he says.
Okay. Well, best player of the season? Oh, Bukayo Saka, obviously. No. Salah, obviously.
No.
Ooh. Son.
Yeah,
of course.
100%.
No, you're not feeling that?
I think first and foremost, it's very difficult to distinguish those two because they both finished as top scorer.
Yep.
So I think that's particularly hard to pick one over the other.
I got an argument for that.
Yeah, go on then.
Salah did it all at the start of the season, did nothing at the end, whereas Son was fairly consistent all the way through.
I mean,
after
I would say
Salah lost in the AFCON final, he wasn't the same player coming back.
I'd agree with that.
He was already on like 15 goals by January sort of time, and then kind of when Liverpool needed him the most at the end of the season to maintain that title challenge, he disappeared.
Yeah, fair enough.
Whereas Son was kind of there all the way through, always scoring a goal. I mean, he carried Spurs under Nuno for those first 9 games. He was the only one putting the ball in the net.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my argument. And he scored 23 goals with no penalties.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually going to say, if you'd let me finish, I was going to say that...
I'm animated about this one.
that I'd agree that I think Salah was pretty good at the start of the season and very quiet towards the end of the season. I was going to agree with that. But I disagree with you saying that Son was consistent for the whole year, because there was a period where he was like out for like a while, wasn't there?
I'm not sure, but he did hit a massive purple patch the last 2 months.
Yeah, there was a big purple patch towards the end of the season. I don't necessarily think that he was consistent throughout the whole season.
It's very difficult for one player to be consistent throughout the whole season.
But I do find it impressive that that was 23 goals without any penalties.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's impressive. Yeah, definitely. Any other contenders we want to throw in there? De Bruyne, obviously.
Yeah, but I want to kind of steer clear of the obvious one.
Yeah.
Like, you want to look for the one that kind of went, like, under the radar.
Corella at Brighton again, we talked about signings. The player of the season makes a big difference to that team.
I would like to put forward Jared Bowen.
Yeah, he's on my list.
I think that he had a pretty outstanding season.
Yeah.
And then Conor Gallagher.
Conor Gallagher as well, yeah. Considering the teams that they were playing for as well, I think that's why I tend to lean more towards players like that than like De Bruyne or Salah or someone like that. I mean, I would say Son, but then I'd be accused of bias. So I would like to go for the players at the smaller, sorry, quote unquote smaller clubs. So I would say players like Jared Bowen, Conor Gallagher, I think were very good. Think of too many other players.
No, I'd probably agree with your kind of top five. If you were to make that like a top five, I'd probably agree with that.
I think Trent was very good for the whole season, despite people questioning his defensive abilities.
I don't really know why he was getting so slammed at the start of the season. It's like, am I like watching a different sport to other people? Sometimes I feel like that. Like everyone all of a sudden was like, yeah, he's been rubbish, isn't he? It was like, really? He was like great like 2 months ago. What's happened? I don't know. I found that very odd, to be honest with you.
I mean, in terms of assists, he's an assist machine, really.
Just Trent has a habit of just falling asleep.
Yeah, I mean, Champions League final, obviously.
Yeah, and he did it for England as well in the first game against Hungary. Just fell asleep, just disappeared.
All I say is, look how old he is. Still very young.
26.
Is he?
Yeah, 25. 20. He's not that old.
I think he's like 22, 23.
I was going to say 22. Yeah, like
I don't know. We'll Google this.
I might be thinking of Andy Robertson. He's a bit older.
Andy Robertson's older. I know that.
Yeah, I might have got the two ages mixed up.
He's 23.
There you go. So,
okay.
Yeah. But he's still got a little bit of time to quash those mistakes, hasn't he? So,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
So, what about manager of the season then? There's quite a few contenders, I think. I mean, apart from the obvious ones. Potter
at Brighton.
Yeah, he's got to be out there, isn't he?
It pains me to say him though, because he's one of the there's a right way to play football people, and I hate bigging people like that up.
I get it, but they finished 9th in the league. That's pretty good for Brighton, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm gonna put probably
Moyes again. I'd say definitely.
Spurs. The job he's like turning us around and stuff.
Again, I'm reluctant to say Conte. Because I think if you say Conte, then you have to say Arteta. And I really don't want to say Arteta.
I wouldn't say Arteta. Arteta didn't join the team. Didn't join in the team mid-season.
If you want to go Conte didn't really join the team in mid-season either, did he? I mean, he basically joined in the summer, and we were just waiting for Nuno to up, basically, weren't we? And go and get the right man that we should have got all along.
Yeah, fair point. I'll give you that.
I don't have Arteta written down, actually. I think if we got Champions League, then yes, absolutely. But I have got Conte written down because I think that he did his objective, which was get Spurs Champions League. So he's got to be on there.
I've got one for you that's a little bit out of left field. Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I think that I had Palace to go down, and I think that he completely proved me wrong. And good on him. Well done.
Yeah, as an Arsenal fan, I was very happy to see Vieira do well this season. Pretty much throughout the whole season, really.
Yeah, I think that consistently pretty decent.
Consistently good, yeah.
Considering the squad that he's got, the amount of money he's got available to him. I'd agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that he had a great season.
Played a more exciting style at times as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had that concern about moving on from Hodgson, who, established them and then, try and take that next step. And Vieira plays, as you say, a very different way. And I think he did one hell of a job there with that team.
Eddie Howe.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, well, I think he proved
Yeah,
everybody wrong.
I think he proved a lot of people. I think he proved everybody wrong, to be fair.
See how much he can keep it going, though.
Yeah, definitely. They've got to take that next step now, haven't they? So
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all well and good doing what he's done. Good for him. But now, with the money they've got, he needs to prove he's not a Mark Hughes,
Yeah, I'd go with that. I would put Eddie Howe with an asterisk next to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the objective last season was very clear: stay up.
Which he did comfortably.
Yeah, but what's the objective next season?
I'm assuming they're going to want Europe, right?
Conference League is probably what I would say.
Somewhere in Europe, yeah.
At least challenging for it.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think they're going to want it.
They're realistic. It should be at least challenging for it.
When have you ever accused any football team ever of being realistic?
Yeah, I know.
Blackburn will be in the Champions League.
They were.
Yeah,
Arsenal
not when
will
they
be.
wanted them to, though.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to...
Thomas Frank at Brentford, obviously, and Bruno Lage at Wolves, both pretty good. Wouldn't be the top one for me. I think over the season it's probably Potter or Vieira, apart from the obvious Klopp and Guardiola ones.
Yeah, apart from the obvious, but I don't like counting the obvious.
Yeah, if you go with
Moyes,
Richard's point of staying
yeah.
outside the obvious.
Yeah, I'd say Moyes, Potter, Vieira would be my top three choices.
Yeah. And Moyes is trying to turn West Ham into the new Everton, isn't he? Basically,
Yeah, which
is
I
fine.
mean, I'm sure West Ham will get annoyed with eventually because football fans are stupid.
They are.
Oh well, we should be challenging for the league, shouldn't we? We're synonymous with successful, sexy football. I hate football fans, and I don't care if they hear me saying this. They annoy me so much sometimes.
We're a fickle breed.
Well, being a football fan as I am, that I'm always super pessimistic, and I personally wouldn't care if Tottenham were boring Tottenham and we won, trophies. I personally would not care if we were the dullest team to watch in the history of football. If we were winning stuff, that wouldn't bother me.
Oh, of course not.
But so it annoys me when teams that are punching way above their weight start pissing and moaning about the quality of football on display. Because it's like, dude, shut up. You were in League One a few years ago. Get over it, yeah. So
Shut up, I love that.
I'm just I'm a cynical football fan. I am.
Is there anyone else for us to add?
I'm happy if you guys are happy.
Yeah, no, I'd say I think we pretty much agree on that.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I mean, I could say just manager of the season. I don't think there's many candidates.
Well,
for
I
that.
think Cisco's going to win that straight away. He's the first manager
Benitez.
fired. It's got to be.
Definitely Benitez. Or Rangnick.
I don't know if he was the worst manager of the season. He was definitely the worst fit. Because he was never going to be accepted there. It was just
Stupid
a poison
move,
chalice.
It was a stupid move.
move,
Yeah. Why would you go
Yeah.
as an ex-Liverpool manager?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
never
it
going
just
to give
doesn't
you the
happen.
time of day, were they? It was as soon as you didn't bring them success, they were going to be like, get him out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nuno.
Yeah, Nuno's a bit of a flop, but I think the problem is when you basically make it clear you were the only person left. You're never really gonna.
Yeah, ouch.
It's never really gonna go well, is it?
When you interview with half the teams in the league for a job and then you end up at Spurs because you're the only person.
It's not just that. It's
kind of
just
tells you
when the team interviews half the people in the league, and then you're the only one left as well. I think it's a marriage made in hell, basically, isn't it? Like when we're both like, oh well, we're both settling, aren't we? So it's never really going to go anywhere, is it? And I think that it was when I heard that.
It's like a theme park negotiation where the hands try and get closer.
Oh yeah. Ooh. I never knew how to play that game initially, and I always used to be like, what's the point of this? And I used to just put my hand all the way out when I first started playing. But then I learned You got to go forward, pull back, go forward, or you know.
Yeah. It worked out for Spurs in the end,
In the end, yeah, but like I said, it was just wasted time.
Yeah, it was a calamity to get there, but yeah. Other than that, I just got Ranić and Solskjaer. I don't really think of anyone else to add, really.
Pretty average, really, this season, wasn't it? There was not really any standout that you'll be like, oh, he was awful.
Bielsa.
Oh, yeah, Bielsa.
No, he is the greatest manager of all time.
I would say Benitez if I had to pick one.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted Richard's reaction to that. That's all I wanted.
I would pick, like I said, Cisco, mainly for the fact that earlier on today, I forgot he was even there this season. You know, like, I literally forgot this person existed.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty damning indictment, personally. But there's another big word for you, indictment.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we good with that? We happy?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so that was our review of the 21-22 season. Stick with us for more interesting things to come. We're going to be talking about the World Cup in the next couple of weeks, the Women's Euros, and then we'll start making our predictions for next season. A little bit of a review for the upcoming season. And there'll be plenty more to come besides that.
Nottingham Forest to win the league.
Hopefully. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? That'd be really interesting. But then I'd also, as a Tottenham fan, be really annoyed by the fact that Nottingham Forest can win the league and we can't.
What were European Cup winners, mate?
Yeah, but like how long ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another segment that we've already gone through before, guys. So you're going to have to pretend that you've never listened to me telling you all of this before, okay? Because I didn't want to go and research two completely different players again. So I'm just going to use the same research that we did last time. But this is a Hall of Fame segment that we're going to do at the end of every episode, where I put forward to my two fantastic guests, two players in a similar position, and they have to choose which one will go into our Sacked in the Morning Hall of Fame. So, gentlemen, like I said, you have heard these before, but I want you to ooh and ah and drool over the fact that you've never heard these before. All right? Can you promise me that?
I can do that.
Fantastic. Feeling?
No, I like to have a rant and an argument, so I can do that, no problem.
Right, okay, good. I'm very glad. So, this first week, it is a goalkeeper choice, because I was a goalkeeper, Phelan was a goalkeeper, and goalkeepers win you points. Very underrated, and considering you think that
I played in goal before.
You also think that one of the best signing of the season was a goalkeeper.
I did, yeah.
Proves how much it can be very important to you. So, the age-old 90s question of Peter Schmeichel versus David Seaman.
I'm going to say Schmeichel.
Yeah, but you haven't heard yet. Shut up. You're supposed to pretend like you haven't heard this yet.
You already said what players were put up against each other, though.
Yeah. But, here we go, lads. Peter Schmeichel, born in Gladsaxe, Denmark on the 18th of November 1963, to parents Inga, who was a nurse, and Polish jazz musician Anthony. He started playing at the age of 8, and after a second 2.5 year unbeaten run, he joined BK Hero, one of the largest youth setups in Denmark.
That's a good name for a team.
Great name for a team.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Burger King Hero.
Burger King. That's right. Maybe it does stand for Burger King. It might be a sponsor.
I wonder if they had to wear the crowns before each game.
Oh, that would be great. And those really ridiculous big heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike's gone. Where you gone?
Mic drop. Oh,
Mic
no,
drop.
he's back.
You back? We can't hear you.
One second.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, 2 seconds.
He needs to have a life. Let him have friends.
Anyway, go on, continue, mate.
Well, he's not there.
Yeah, I'm mute. I'm muted.
Yeah, I know you're muted, but you're not listening. Or are you just?
I've got headphones in.
Yeah, I've also heard all this before.
Yeah.
In 1987, he signed for Brøndby. If winning the Danish title in his first season, Brøndby IF, that's what it is.
You might want to re-record this.
Yeah, let's take it from the top. In 1987, he signed for Brøndby IF, winning the Danish title in his first season. He made his international debut that same year and being selected for the 1988 European Championships. He played for Brøndby until 1991, winning 4 Danish championships and reaching the UEFA Cup semi-finals, keeping 7 clean sheets along the way. He signed for Manchester United in August the same year for £505,000, a price described by Sir Alex Ferguson as the bargain of the century. Schmeichel would be...
probably like 60 million now.
Yeah, well, I mean, how much did Kepa go for? 75? So, I mean, yeah, there you go.
What a legend.
I like reminding Chelsea of that.
Aren't they in the market for a new goalkeeper as well now?
Are they?
Yeah, I've seen that they're in the market for another goalkeeper.
I think so.
So they're basically going to push Kepa to third choice.
Maybe that'd be funny.
It's going to be brilliant. Schmeichel would be a runner-up in his first season, as well as winning the League Cup with Manchester United. At the end of the season, he would go on to win Euro 92, as Denmark were the surprise entrants after not qualifying. He would then, the following season, keep 22 clean sheets as United would win the Premier League and be named best goalkeeper in the world. He would go on to win 5 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, and 1 Champions League, famously the treble in 1999. He would go on to play for Sporting Lisbon, Aston Villa, and Manchester City, winning 1 more title and 1 Intertoto Cup. He retired in April 2003 after winning 4 Danish titles, 1 Danish Cup, 5 Premier League titles, 3 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, 1 Champions League, 1 Super Cup, 4 Charity Shields, 1 Portuguese title, 1 Portuguese Super Cup, 1 Intertoto Cup. He was capped 129 times for Denmark, scoring 1 goal. He won 1 European Championship, 4 Danish Goalkeeper of the Year awards, and 3 Danish Footballer of the Year awards. He was also named in the European Champions League Team of the Year, 3 times UEFA Goalkeeper of the Year, 2 IFFHS Goalkeeper of the Year awards, PFA Team of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year, a whole host of English and European Dream Teams, and English and Danish Hall of Fame. He also has an MBE.
Ooh.
So, that was...
That Intertoto Cup, eh?
Intertoto Cup, yes.
Oh, that's the big one right there.
Yeah, that makes all the difference, that does.
I mean, that if that doesn't win it alone, then, you know...
Can't argue that piece of silverware.
On to David Seaman. Born in Rotherham in the UK on the 19th of September 1963, in 1981 he began at Leeds United, but was not wanted by the then manager Eddie Gray and sold to Peterborough United for £4,000 in 1982. Having also played for Birmingham City and QPR, Seaman made his England debut in 1988, and in 1990 he signed for Arsenal, winning the title in his first season, only conceding 18 goals along the way. In 1998, he would win his first double, playing every game and only conceding 17 goals. He would leave Arsenal for free to join Man City in 2003. Both goalkeepers playing for Manchester City, quite strange. However, he would not...
Did they play at the same time?
No, I think one replaced the other, didn't they? Because there was David James was in there at some point as well, wasn't he?
Because I think that time frame is very, very similar.
It's very close, yeah, absolutely. But I think that they kind of replaced each other, I think. Because he wouldn't last the whole season. He'd retire in January of 2004. He won 1 Division 1 title, 4 FA Cups, 2 Premier Leagues, 1 League Cup, 3 Charity/Community Shields, 1 Cup Winners' Cup, and he was capped 75 times for England. He was named in the Euro Team of the Tournament in 1996. He was named a PFA Team of the Year player. In total, he won 3 league titles, 5 cup trophies, 1 European trophy, and 9 major honours in general. Now, I know that those statistics sound a little bit less impressive than Peter Schmeichel, and to be honest, they kind of are. But let's not forget that he was one of the great goalkeepers. But
I didn't forget.
Gentlemen, the choice comes down to you. Who would you like to be the first inductee in the Sacked in the Morning Hall of Fame?
I mean, did Peter Schmeichel ever play for England?
Peter Schmeichel did not ever play for England.
Well, yeah, that's your answer then.
I'm also fairly certain Peter Schmeichel didn't get lobbed from the halfway line.
I'm pretty sure Peter Schmeichel got lobbed a few times though.
Yeah, can we say that for sure? I mean, do you know if he never got lobbed in Portugal or Denmark?
I can't say
in terms
for
of
sure.
like high-profile mistakes, the ones you know of, but I'm always going to be a little bit biased because Peter Schmeichel was like my goalkeeping icon growing up. So.
I think he was a lot of people goalkeepers' hero, wasn't he? You know, he was the quintessential goalkeeper. But this isn't mine, gentlemen.
I mean, I think Phelan's made his decision.
So Phelan's definitely saying Peter Schmeichel, yes.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I'd say Schmeichel for me was the one growing up, was the one that I watched. Commanding presence, owned his penalty area, made such a difference to that team. Although, I will admit David Seaman has the best save that I've seen out of the two of them.
And cooler hair.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, no, for me it's Schmeichel.
Yeah, the FA Cup game against Sheffield United was that save by David Seaman.
Yep, voted one of the greatest saves of all time.
Yeah, it just pains me to say it. I think Peter Schmeichel was a better goalkeeper than David Seaman. Yeah, just for more the achievements that he achieved. More league titles, European Championship winner. Peter Schmeichel, probably the best goalkeeper in the world in the mid-90s, probably. I mean, David Seaman could have had a claim for that as well, especially after Euro 96. But I think Schmeichel's probably just a little bit better.
So there you go. Manchester City legend Peter Schmeichel beats out narrowly Manchester City legend David Seaman to go into the Sacked in the Morning Hall of Fame. You are the first inductee. Congratulations, Mr. Peter Schmeichel.
It's all about Man City. They've always been a huge club.
Well, that's it for this instalment of Sacked in the Morning. Thank you for joining us for our first 1B episode of this podcast. Hopefully there won't be any more major world-changing pandemics that come along and derail us again.
He's open.
And we can get together a couple more times and start to make this a little bit more of a regular occurrence. But I would like to thank you for joining me, Michael Phelan. If you would like to sign off for me, please.
Thank you very much. It's been enjoyable.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Tom Bridger, for joining me. If you would like to sign off for me.
Gracias.
Sí.
Adios.
¿Qué pasa? And thank you very much for listening to this first episode of Sacked in the Morning. My name is Richard Driscoll. I was your host, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Some people are on the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now.
So if you like this video, please check out our other content. Click on the video below. Please check out this playlist. This is a Rich T Entertainment production.